folks, finally make a return back to the Comic Chronicles. Well, of course, part of this I haven't. I've just been collecting comics. I haven't had a chance to really review anything. Mostly, I've been focusing on movie reviews and things like that, and not so much on comics. But I have been collecting a lot of comics, so this is just basically going to go back to like what I would do with my movie updates and like DVD updates. I quit doing those because it just got so difficult to track. But the comics, no way. So I'm just going to do that, and I actually have something else that's not necessarily a comic book, but it's comic book themed. And so what you're going to see here is what I've picked up and accumulated since, in the world of comics. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, for the past month or so, I have been going crazy at comic book stores and whatnot, and bookstores, and surprisingly picked up a few things. And so the first one we're going to take a look here is Superman, the One Who Fell. Yeah, there we go. And this is when this one has Clark Kent with his son John. So yeah, before they made the big changes with Superman and his son. So, yeah, Superman, the One Who Fell. Batman Year 100. A lot of people have really recommended this book. So yeah. The Immortal Hulk. There you go. We have All-Star Superman, the Deluxe Edition. This nice big thick book. Yeah. There you go. And we got Batman the World. As you'll see through these, this whole collection update, you'll see a lot of Batman and you'll see a lot of Superman. So just forewarning you, we have Batman part of the DC Rebirth series, I Am Bane, Volume 3. The Vengeance of Bane. This is Batman Curse of the White Knight, part of the DC Black Label series. A lot of these DC Black Labels obviously going into more adult themed territory and very dark and a little bit harsher language and whatnot. But yeah, comics aren't just for kids anymore. So we got Batman and the Signal. There's some Scott Snyder action there. We got DC Universe Rebirth, Superman Action Comics, Volume 1, Path of Doom. And we got DC Universe Rebirth, Superman, Volume 3, Multiplicity. All the Superman. We got Superman Bizarro's World. They even do the Superman logo in reverse. So, just to inform you, it's Bizarro. And we got Batman the Imposter, part of the DC Black Label. So I kind of breezed through this one a little bit. There's some stuff going on in here. Almost kind of reminded me of Batman Mask of the Phantasm in terms of just the type of story it is. That there's someone else going through and kind of throwing Batman for a loop here. As you can see, a false Batman is haunting Gotham. And we got Harley Quinn, Volume 5, The Joker's Last Laugh. Some old Harley Quinn. I think she's another one that they've since changed over the years. Just by changing... I think they just turned her character differently. Next up, DC Universe Rebirth. I'm having trouble saying that. Rebirth Batman Detective Comics, Volume 3, The League of Shadows. And we got All-Star Batman Volume 2, Ends of the Earth. Part of the DC Universe Rebirth. It's not a Batman story, it's a villain story, is what it says there on the back. Okay. And we got some Deadpool going on here. Deadpool Volume 1. Just collecting Deadpool 1 through 12 and Thunderbolts 131 through 131. So yeah, this one's just a compilation of Deadpool stories. Of course, with a big parental advisory down there at the bottom. That's the thing with Marvel and DC. Marvel, I think, just flat out puts a rating on the comic and say, okay, this is recommended for children, this one's recommended for teens, and this one's just flat out adults by putting a parental advisory. So next up, got Batman Detective Comics Volume 3, Emperor Penguin. And next up, Action Comics, Volume 5, What Lies Beneath. Good old Superman. As you can see, I got a lot of Superman and Batman. This whole video is going to be Superman, Batman themed. So, so let's just hang in there. Another Superman Action Comics, Volume 3, At the End of Days. And we got Superman Grounded. No Superman is an island. And we got Batman Earth 1. Interesting. The Superman one has like 3 volumes, while the Batman storyline only has 1 issue. And I think the Wonder Woman only has 1 issue as well. I'm not sure, because there was 3 different stories. There was Superman, there was Batman, and I think there was Wonder Woman, a part of the same story. So yeah, yeah, this is Batman Earth 1. And continuing on with Batman with the sequel to The Dark Knight Returns. It's Batman The Dark Knight Strikes Again, with Frank Miller returning to tell the story. And yeah, I think the Batman the Dark Knight Returns is probably one of the best stories ever put on paper. And matter of fact, that story was so influential that a lot of the movies borrowed from that. Of course, Tim Burton was influenced when he made the 1989 Batman, and Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck pulled from Frank Miller's Batman to do their version of Batman when they did Justice League and Batman versus Superman. But yeah, this is what I would say is the sequel to it, Batman The Dark Knight Strikes Again. Definitely a lot more stuff going on here between him and Superman. So yeah, there we go. Now, I'm looking for one more to complete this original trilogy. Since Disney owns both Marvel and Lucasfilm, one of the things that Disney did, this is one of the positive things, besides give us some new movies, but those are mixed reviewed movies, and a lot of people aren't really satisfied with what Disney has done. But one of the positive things that Disney has done with both owning Marvel and Lucasfilm was to bring back and republish the original Marvel Star Wars comics. And so I already have A New Hope, but this one is Return of the Jedi. That's basically a republication, and it's hardback. Also, I think they went back and kind of illustrated some stuff, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe cleaned up some of the drawings and whatnot. But it includes a introduction by Warwick Davis, who played Wicket, one of the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. And so yeah, I'm gonna be on the hunt to find The Empire Strikes Back. So I have A New Hope and now Return of the Jedi. So gotta find The Empire Strikes Back. Now, I have one more comic to show you, and these two things are kind of going to tie together. What I'm going to talk about here. So, I'm going to take you back to the 1990s. Television was basically the way to put comic book characters in the public conscience. And Superman, being one of the most famous comic book heroes of all time, ABC and Warner Brothers decided to reboot the whole story of Superman in a way, but tell it as a romantic comedy. And the reason why I'm putting this comic to the side is because this comic came out about the same time. And this was a very controversial move with DC when they did this. And they also did this in this particular show. So, first of all, the TV show. ABC in the 1990s, probably around the early 1990s, I'm not quite sure. I'll look at the copyright date here in a moment. They decided to tell the story of Superman, bring him back to the television, and do it in a more positive light, and make it a romantic comedy with Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Now, here we have all 4 seasons of the show. That's how long the show lasted. It was an hour-long romantic comedy that aired on ABC from, let's look here, 1993 to 1997. So as you can see here, we have show starred Dean Cain playing Superman / Clark Kent, and Terry Hatcher playing the famed reporter Lois Lane. And of course, the show was fairly popular at the time, and it was an interesting take on this whole Superman and Lois Lane relationship, and it did something controversial right around season 3, and it continued into season 4. So let's get this out of here, because this ties in to what they did. Now, in the world of comic books, they did the same thing. But they did not follow the same story. This is basically a different story that they were telling for television, while the comic books decided to do the same thing but tell a different story to it. And that was when Superman finally marries Lois Lane. And as you can see on the back here, there's the little invite. Now, this was, I don't know how well this publication is. I bought it, obviously, used. Was not a very popular selling book, because by this time, the fans of Superman were not exactly happy with this whole story. They were not happy with the idea that Superman was tied down to the old ball and chain. Now, even in the TV show, this is why the TV show only lasted 4 seasons. Because by season 3, as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Clark Kent, their year is here, or is it? And you can see on the back there, Clark Kent marries Lois Lane. And again, it's 2 different stories between the comic and the TV show. But as you can see there, and this is the final season where Clark Kent and Lois Lane are married. Of course, the big thing is he had to reveal the fact he is Superman to Lois Lane. And it's not quite the same as when he did it in Superman 2. To me, that is a little bit more sillier, because he kisses Lois Lane and they forgot that they slept together. Or she forgets that they slept together. While it's Die Hard, I'm in a relationship with Superman and I'm going to live the rest of my life. Same with this. As a matter of fact, DC didn't back down on it. As a matter of fact, you saw in my collection is that there is stories with Superman and his son, which is also the son of Lois Lane. So, there you go. Yeah, very controversial story to Superman, and that had fans kind of upset and up in arms. No, we don't want Superman tied down. And same with the TV show, because once the TV show had Lois and Clark get married, the ratings began to dip. And so it got to the point where ABC decided not to renew the show. However, the CW here in recent years has relaunched the show, actually created a brand new show called Superman and Lois, which we're starting all over again, the whole relationship between Lois Lane and Superman. But this was the first time that they did it, and I was a big fan of the show back in the 1990s. If I remember correctly, it aired on Sunday nights. It aired right after America's Funniest Home Videos, America's Funniest People. Then there was Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And it was a big deal. Because Superman was still fighting crime. He was still fighting Lex Luthor. Another controversial move that this show did was Lex Luthor in the show was played by John Shea. John Shea did not shave his head until later seasons. So when you first see Lex Luthor, here, Lex Luthor, there's a part where he almost married Lois Lane, but Lex Luthor has a full head of hair. And it wasn't until like season 3 or 4 that John Shea agreed to portray Lex Luthor bald. I don't know if he shaved his head or they gave him a bald cap. I don't remember, but I do remember that he eventually did go for bald. But not at first. He had a full head of hair. But yeah. But that's not all of Superman. I did forget one thing I want to show. So, since we're talking about TV shows and whatnot, I think I'm going to incorporate that if I get some comic book themed TV show. I'll talk about that, because it's not a movie, and yet it's not, but it is comic book themed. So, yeah. So I'm showing you Lois and Clark. So hold on just one second. So speaking of Superman, I forgot to show off this, and this one was a little bit more pricey, but and I think this was right around the time I was kind of getting out of cartoons. You know, I loved to watch Batman the Animated Series, which came out around the same time as Lois and Clark. So you're talking like the early 90s. And around the mid-1990s, after the success of Batman the Animated Series, the kids WB and Warner Brothers decided to bring Superman to the animated screen. And so here is the complete animated series of Superman. Yeah, with Tim Daly voiced Superman in the animated series. And there was some Clancy Brown was also the voice of Lex Luthor. And I think Dana Delaney was the voice of Lois Lane. So, yeah. So we have Superman, the complete animated series, and it was pretty much the same people that did Batman, the animated series. I mean, like people like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, and they thought, well, it was, you know, because Batman had come out and was so successful as an animated series that they decided to bring Superman. But the problem is that they ran into real quickly with Superman is that Superman is completely different than what Batman is. Batman is very dark and gloomy, and so they knew that with Batman it had to be dark, and so they used like dark construction paper and stuff like that. With Superman, they ran into a problem where, because he's so different, Superman is far more colorful. He's bright in colors and just very, it just pops in terms of color, while as opposed to Batman was very, very dark, while this just pops on screen. Of course, this is the Blu-ray. They do have, I believe they also have the Justice League TV series, which came out after this, and they also have Batman Beyond, which was other shows that they had done. So, yeah, that's pretty much the haul that I've gotten over the past few, I'm going to say few months. I'm still working on putting Smallville together. That one is proving to be a little bit more tough. I am probably going to have to go through Amazon to get those to complete that, because I'm only missing 2 seasons, and I'll probably talk about that a little bit in depth once I get everything together. So, from me to you, see you later.